Hello and welcome to MCN. My name is Carl Stevens and today we have been riding this. It's the CF Moto 800 NK. So, as a bit of an overview, the middleweight or the upper middleweight naked class is bursting with incredible bikes. Honda's Hornet, which is under £7,000. You've got GSX-8S, which is our current favourite, the current cream of the crop. You've got KTM 790 Duke. You've still got Yamaha's incredible MT-07. There's so much to choose from. And now there is another addition to the mix. This CF Moto 800 NK comes in at £6,999. So it's right at the bottom end of the middleweight market, with the only thorn in its side being the incredible pricing of the Honda Hornet, which is the same price. So let's break it down a bit. We're going to start with the engine. As some of you may or may not know, CF Moto and the Pierre Mobility Group, so KTM, Husqvarna, Gas, they go hand in hand. It's one of their brands. So this, what you're looking at, is essentially a 790 Duke for under £7,000, which is pretty impressive. So it's the same engine, 799cc parallel twin, so it makes 90 brake horsepower and 58 pound-foot of torque. So it's a really impressive number. It's exactly where it needs to be. We've been running it today in Nice and the engine is still incredible. I actually did the launch of the 790 Duke, the original one, many years ago now, and it was absolutely amazing. It's so playful, it's so thumpy, it's such a fun-inducing motor. It's exactly what I want from this category. It brings you smiles, it's aggressive, it's fun, it's torquey, right from the bottom end all the way up, and it keeps on revving too. Saying that, it's still slightly rough at the bottom end, especially in sport mode. It can be a bit prickly, it's a bit aggressive on pickup, and this standard model doesn't come with a quick shifter, and the gearbox it's not the smoothest thing in the world, it's not the most refined thing in the world getting into gears, and I also had a few sort of times where I sort of jumped in and out of gears where I was just struggling to get them, where maybe I was being a bit too aggressive, not using the clutch, but it's something to bear in mind that it's not the smoothest, softest gearbox in the game. Saying that, one of the things that really did impress me about this bike is it actually comes with a 15-litre fuel tank, and that is the biggest of any bike in this sector. And we've been riding around the back roads of Nice today. We did a little bit of dual carriageway work, but it was mainly on B roads, like up and down the gearbox, full throttle brakes, and I still averaged 53 miles per gallon, which is seriously impressive. So by that sort of standards, you'll be getting over 200 miles out of a tank, which is something you don't usually expect from a bike in this sector. Something you do expect though is sharp handling, exciting ride, and this delivers it in abundance. It's got the same chassis as the 790 Duke, so it's super capable. It's really light, 186 kilo curb weight, so it's really nimble, and it almost feels like a supermoto. It feels quite high up, even though the seat height's low, and the way it just fires into corners. You can really just put the front end wherever you want it and it will go. In terms of suspension, unlike the KTM, this comes with 43mm fully adjustable KYB suspension, both front and rear. And I have to say, it's far more suited to hard riding. I'm not on the heavier side of things. I'm about 70 kilos with my kit on. And when you're being really aggressive with it is where it sort of feels at its nicest. When you run a bit slow, it doesn't give you the same sort of feel, like the same sort of gentle push through the stroke. So it would be really suited to track work. And in all honesty, it's not the kindest thing over the bumps. If I had this myself for a couple of days or even a few weeks, I'd quite like to have a little play around with it, maybe soften off the rebound as well, because it's really aggressive. But it's really nice that you do get adjustable forks and adjustable shock on a bike that is under £7,000. Saying that, one thing this could do with is a steering damper, because it is a bit flighty, and where it's so nimble and so agile, it can still be a little bit sensitive to, really big inputs from the bars and through the pegs. And talking of which, the seat height on this is 795mm. So that is about as low as it gets. It's really thin, as you can see. The bike is really thin. So if seat height is an issue for you, if leg reach is an issue, this is a really impressive bike. CF Moto also do an optional extra seat, which is 820mm. And to be honest, even though I'm short, I think I would have preferred that today, only because even with my little 28-inch legs, it's still quite cramped. The foot pegs are quite high, which obviously gives you more ground clearance, which is better for sporty riding. But after an hour and a half, 2 hours or so of riding, you really feel it on your legs and you need to stretch out. Also, where the seat height is so low, it's quite hard. I'd quite like to have a little bit more padding in it. I was getting a bit of a numb bum. In terms of comfort, it doesn't quite hit the spot, especially if you're a taller rider. There are probably better, more comfortable machines for you, especially in the sector. Now, we're going to move on to tech here because this is quite an interesting machine. So it comes with a 5-inch TFT dash. It has 3 rider modes to choose from. It is Bluetooth compatible, so you can pair your phone up with it. And it also has cruise control as well, which is really impressive on a bike like this. I love cruise control. I think all bikes should come with it, especially when you're going through like 40 mile an hour, 50 mile an hour averages. It's super, super helpful. And this system is really good. It's really easy to set. It's really easy to adjust. The only issue is, like with a lot of bikes, I have to add, is that it only works in 4th, 5th and 6th gear, so you can't get it in 1st, 2nd or 3rd. But it's not really an issue, and to be honest, just having it is brilliant. On the flip side, even though it has cruise control, it doesn't come with an IMU or traction control, so the ABS is just basic, but there is no traction control, no torque control. In all honesty, I don't feel like it drastically needs it. It's under 100 horsepower, the chassis is really good. Okay, the Maxxis Supermax ST tyres aren't the most confidence-inspiring tyres in the world, but they're more than up to the job of looking after the bike. But I know when you're looking at bikes like the Hornet for the same price, where you get the torque control that's adjustable, it's something that I would have liked to have seen on this bike, and the team at CF Moto seem pretty confident that they're going to bring it in for the next model. It's also worth mentioning as well that the switch gears, although they're really easy to use, they're not the nicest sort of placed things in the world. So today I was constantly hitting the full beam light, which sits just above the handlebar. And although the buttons to navigate the menu are really easy, really big, like it's a really simple system to use, they sit a bit too close for the indicator buttons for me. Now, a lot of you are going to be looking at this and you're going to have preconceptions of a Chinese-made bike. Whether that's for good or for ill, you think it's just a cheap machine built to a price. And I have to say, the finish on this bike is, as a whole, really nice. If you took that CF Moto badge on it, you'd easily think it was European or Japanese in a really good way. I was chatting to the guys and girls at CF Moto yesterday, and they're really looking to build into a reputable brand and just leave the old preconceptions behind. And by building bikes like this, of this quality, you really can see that they're making steps that way. But even still, there's a few little niggles. So the little USB socket, for example, which is just down here, floating around there, it's an optional extra, whereas on the Hornet it's standard for the same price, and you can pull that out and you can just see a little bit of wiring. Just little things like that I'd like to see improve. But as a whole, and for the money, I can't really complain too much, especially because it's got such a nice swing arm, different to the 790s. The chassis is lovely, the engine is lovely, the dash is lovely. It's lovely, and it feels premium, which is the most important thing. Now today we've also had the chance to ride the advanced model. Unfortunately, they don't have any plans to bring that to the UK currently, but that is something that I really get excited about. So unlike this, you get an 8-inch touchscreen display that has Apple CarPlay. It's absolutely brilliant. It's really easy to set up via the app. It's really intuitive. You can actually unlock the bike with your phone, which is quite interesting. You can map your rides. It's a really nice bit of kit, and the CarPlay is lovely. The dash is huge. There's also a quick shifter and auto blipper, which where the gearbox on this just feels a tiny bit agricultural, having such a smooth shifter and blipper makes such a difference to the riding experience. And it also comes with a steering damper as well. It's almost all of my questions answered with this bike in one complete package. Now, in the countries that it is going in, I think it's going to be about €1,500 extra, but no UK price. They're not planning on bringing it over, but we have ridden it, we do really enjoy it, and to be honest, even if it's at £8,000, so that's GSX-8S prices, it's a really good bike, and I'd love to be able to ride them back to back. I'm not saying that this would be here, but I think it'd be quite close. Overall, how do we rate this bike? Well, to be honest, with a middleweight naked, there's quite a few ways to rate it. There's quite a few reasons people buy it. Firstly, is it fun? Yes, this thing is brilliant. The parallel twin is just a smile machine. It's lovely to thrash. It just wants to be abused. It wants to be revved. It's got so much torque from the bottom all the way up. It is a fun bit of kit. The chassis is incredibly capable. The whole bike is capable. You could quite easily take it on a track day if you had a slightly stickier set of tyres. It's got cruise control. It's got a 15-litre tank. It's economical. Overall, it's a really good bike. If you chucked a screen and a slightly more padded seat on it, you could actually do some serious touring on this thing, and I'd be more than happy to do that. If Honda hadn't stuck a £6,999 price tag on their Hornet, we'd be looking at this in a slightly different way. But because they have, it's such a brutal market. Overall, this is a great package, and it's nice to see another serious contender. It's okay, it's a little bit rough around the edges, but overall, the package is amazing. CF Moto say that they want to be a serious, reputable brand that stands on their own. And to be honest, if they keep making bikes like this, they're going to be there in absolutely no time at all.